All right, guys, it's the next day. You guys said you wanted me to film more of this car. A lot of people like this car, which I knew they would. Everyone knows what it is. So right now, the guy said it should run pretty easy. It doesn't turn over, but he says it should start right up. So supposedly they rebuilt the motor 4 or 5 years ago, and then they parked it because they wanted to get it going again. It's been sitting since 2003, but then they pulled the motor and had it rebuilt, new heads and everything. So, not new heads, rebuilt bottom end, original motor. So I'm gonna try to get it turning over first. So I'm just gonna crawl underneath it and jump the starter, see if it turns over. I turned it over by hand on the crank pulley and it turns over, so it's not locked up. So I'm gonna get the starter to work, and then I'm gonna worry about the ignition stuff since there's no key. So once I get it to turn over, we'll try it. And then once it starts, then I'll drive it around the shop because I don't feel like pushing it over where that blue truck is by myself. So I'm gonna try to get it running first, which I think would be cool anyways. So let's work on this beast and see if we can get her to fire. So we're under here, and as you can see, the oil pan looks like he wasn't lying. It's pretty fresh under here, really rusty. Like, look at that. It's been sitting in the weeds a while. Hope it sandblasts all right, but you can see up top, as you get up, it's better. But it's just like from the grass and stuff growing underneath. But he has good compression, listen. So it does turn over, like I said. So now if we get the starter to turn it over by itself, after we do that, then I'll hook up a gas jug so we don't pump any nasty gas through it that we don't know what the inside of the tank looks like. The inside of the tank should look good, but you never know with these kind of cars. So let's try to get it to turn over, and then we'll hook some gas to it. Well, I just hooked up the battery straight to the solenoid and skipped the wires because the ground's nasty, so I just put the ground there. Tried to jump the starter just by that and give it full power, and it just sparks. So I really think the starter's bad, which the guy says he thinks it is also. So we're gonna rip the starter out right now and test it on the floor. All right, well, movie magic again. Got the starter out. They aren't too bad, just 2 bolts and then the third one for the wire, but here we go. See if it's as bad as we think. A little ground, hook it up. Yeah, I'd say she's toast. Make sure that it's not just something stuck. Yeah, she's toast. So my buddy Storm's coming out here to bring his car. It's gonna get buffed for a car show this weekend, so I'm having him grab me a starter. Then we'll throw that in and get her to turn over at least. So he'll probably take 20 minutes. So as I wait, I think I'm gonna unhook the carburetor and get it to some fresh fuel. Take the air cleaner off probably. And then once it turns over, it should fire right up. So stay tuned. Another thing while we wait, I'm gonna vacuum out all this stuff. I don't know what it's from, trees, mice, whatever. It's just nasty. Clean up the engine bay a little bit, just vacuum out what I can. So just clean it up a little bit so it doesn't start on fire if we do get this thing running. With all this dead crap in it. So let's get her vacuumed out. There, got that cleaned up pretty good. Now, figure we better check the oil and the coolant before he gets here, just to make sure we can even try to start it. And there's coolant there, so the block's not cracked and leaks coolant or frost plug's blown out. Now we just gotta find a dipstick. Oh, right here. Blends in. It looks clean-ish. Full too. It's got oil, got coolant. So, good to fire. Write in the comments right now if you think it's gonna run. I think it'll run, but not very well. See if I'm wrong. Even if it runs, we're pulling the motor out to go through everything anyway, so I don't really care. But I kind of would like to drive it, if it does run, to see if the transmission's good or if I should rebuild that while the motor's out. Because I don't know how to rebuild the transmissions, so if I have to do that, I gotta send it out. Or the motor I can do all myself except the machine work. So we'll wait for Storm now, and once he gets here, if it runs, we'll drive it over and start pressure washing this thing. I think it'll clean up pretty good, to be honest. It's really nasty. It's like mold and stuff. I already found a hood for it because I don't know what the heck happened to this one, but this hood's pretty rough. So I found a hood for it. Gotta get a roof skin and floors. Not sure if they make a one-piece floor for this aftermarket yet. If not, I'll be looking for a parts car for sure. And then I gotta clean up this nasty interior. If anyone knows where there's some door panels, hit me up, because I think these ones are gone. Wavy, cracked. Wish he would have had this inside. And then look at these speakers. Are those original? I have no idea, but they look weird. If those are original, I'm gonna laugh. Kind of weird looking. All right, guys. I'm kind of just going through it, getting the bigger stuff out of the inside. It's so nasty, I'm wearing gloves. But look at what I found. And then this must have been his girlfriend back in the day. The 80s poof. And then you guys got to see this. This is funny. We're all complaining about $5 a gallon gas. Gas receipt. 10 gallons. $14.79 for 10 gallons. How nice would that be? I think that's cheaper than that. $14.79 for 10 gallons. Too bad we couldn't do that again. And then you gotta also see this. I folded the back seat down. I said there was a sub box. I didn't think it was that big. This guy liked to bump, dude. So I'm gonna try to rip that out and then try to get the hatch to open. The hatch is kind of loose, but it won't ungive. I can move it a little bit. It's probably all you heard with those subs. But I'm gonna try to get the hatch open. Hopefully the valve covers are under the sub box. That'd be pretty sweet, but I'm kind of doubting it. But let me rip that out and then we'll see what's under it. All right, we got all the loose stuff out. This guy has wires everywhere, and look at his sub box. There was no floor in it. Kind of weird. But got the wires out. This guy had wires everywhere. And I don't know why, but I'm gonna vacuum it up for you guys just so it looks nice. Just touching the shift knob to put it in and out of gear is disgusting. It's sticky and gross and ugh. But I'm gonna vacuum it up just to make it look a little bit better. So let's get to that. Well, there she is, boys, ready for Barrett Jackson. Just quick little vacuum. I'm not gonna mess with the covers. I found a kit for like $1,100. Comes with the foam and the covers for the front and the covers for the back. You got to reuse the foam in the back. And I don't feel like getting my hands that nasty to clean the dash and stuff yet. But if you have one of these cars, are these the original floor mats? Because I think that's pretty cool if they are. All 4 of them are still here. Sucks that one's a little ripped, but. And then I noticed that they put holes here to put a rust preventative in there, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I just did it really fast, but it sure looks a heck of a lot better. I should rip the headliner out, but I want to keep the material so they can get as close as they can when they redo it. I'm trying to get this thing as OG as I can. And Storm was here, dropped his GTO off over there. O'Reilly's didn't have a starter. They did, but it was across town. He didn't want to drive, which I don't blame him. So I think I'm going to go home now, eat supper, and then go to a parts store that has one and leave it on the jack stands overnight. Throw the starter in right away in the morning, and if it starts, then we can wash it together. So I was gonna upload this video tonight, but now we gotta wait till tomorrow. So I'm gonna go home and see if I can find a starter after I eat. Well, it's the next day. I just got a starter, so let's throw her in and see if she turns over. All right, guys, little update. I don't know where I left off. It's been a heck of a week for me. But anyways, I got it to turn over, got the starter in, turns over. Sounds good. I think it doesn't have spark. I sprayed starting fluid down the air cleaner into the carb. Didn't even try to pop. So now I'm gonna check the spark. That's where we're at right now. So I grounded the spark plug because this thing's nasty and all my friends don't care to help. They're either working or they just don't want to help. So as always, I'm alone. So I just hooked the ground to the spark plug. I'm gonna turn it over. The key don't work, so we gotta figure out other ways. I might put a push button in here for now. We gotta get it running. I wanna get it running before I do the wash and the detail. I did a little spot there. You can see how well it's gonna shine up. I think it's single stage, but let's see if this thing has spark. All right. We got it all hooked up, so let's see if she's got some spark. Just as I thought, has nothing, not even a little bit. Usually when the spark plug wires are that old and shitty, it would have shocked the hell out of me anyway, so that's a pretty true test. Nothing on the spark plug. Spark plug has a date 2018 on it, so that lines up with when he said he rebuilt the motor around, he said 5 years, it must have been 4. But I'm gonna see if everything's in the ignition is good, because I did notice this wire's off. I don't know if it's a ground or a positive, but my 81's right over in the other room. So we can put the coil in there too, and maybe the spark, what is it, ignition regulator? I don't know what they call them anymore. But let's swap some parts and see if we can get this thing running. I'm gonna check where that wire goes first. All right, guys, little update. Been messing with stuff. I just changed everything. So I got the coil, the ignition box, and the short circuit thing, all from my 81. Put it in here, found out that the ignition didn't have power. So now we're about to just jump the coil with the battery, so the coil's got power, and it should have spark. And then we're just gonna try to send it and see if it'll fire. I'm putting the ground and the power in there, just so we know everything's good to start. Should start. Maybe not. I don't know what's up. Should have started. We had spark earlier. Well, that's where we're gonna end this video. Didn't start. I figured out a lot of stuff. My brother's a wiring freak and I hate wiring and looking at diagrams, so I'm gonna see if he can come here and get the key to work. So what I'm running into, I think, is no ignition to the coil. I got it to go there now, but we still can't turn over the key. I want to turn over the key. I want to get the motor running before I pull it out to go through everything and paint it how I want. I want it originally gray. They painted it blue. I want to take it all apart, put new head gaskets in it, just make sure everything's gone through, because I never take somebody's word for something when I'm going this in depth with the project. So we're going to end the video on that. We didn't get to wash it or anything, but we learned a lot, I guess, and cleaned the interior up a little bit. Buffed this fender a little bit, found out it's single stage and it's had a pretty crappy paint job on it. You can see the sand scratches and stuff. Orange peel is terrible. Can't really see the sand scratches in the camera, but they're there. But it'd polish up good enough to make money on, but we're going full resto with this. So we'll pull the motor, get the engine bay painted up and stuff, replace what we have to. And next video, it's gonna be running. I'm gonna get it running off film, and then I'll just tell you what was wrong. So like and subscribe if you're not already. This is gonna be a pretty good project. I'm about to put a floor in my 72. I'm gonna film that too. I haven't talked about this car too much, but it's one of my favorites. We're doing a one-piece floor in it. Shouldn't be too hard. So see you on the next one, guys.